We say to girls,
what is your podcast?
you can have ambition, but not too much.
Gonna be yapping and cackling away?
Naturally.
If I looked feminine, I would not be taken seriously.
I'm just a girl.
It's amazing how much you can get if you quietly, clearly, and authoritatively demand it.
Reshape, let's be real.
She's amazing. I know, truly, it's like all the camera technology got like better and better. And then even like the photo editing style, like remember in the heyday of Instagram, like even the grainy edit came back on trend. I'm like, I'm so glad that we have all these really nice cameras and lenses so that we can have a grainy edit anyway.
Right. Or like the camcorder style and recording with film and taking photos with film has really come back into play for weddings and other events. Everyone just wants to have this analog approach in this very digital world that we're living in right now.
It's so true. We like love the nostalgia of it. I think one of the best parts of being our age and our generation is that we are truly the only generation that is both analog and digital. And I think that's why we're the smartest.
Yeah, obviously. Like we know how to operate all the technologies. I'm so sorry, Gen Z. You just wish you could be like us.
Yeah. And you know what? We're a little bit more in the know than Gen X. And definitely the boomers.
Definitely
like nothing
the
against
boomers.
our parents' generation. I do think it makes us a little bit more capable of being able to discern stuff in the world because we can go both digital and analog. Like we both know the media, the digital media, but like we're also capable of reading a newspaper if we needed to, or like I just think it
Media
helps
literacy.
us decipher the world. Yeah, we can decipher the world like a little bit better than somebody who's just all analog or all digital.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Do you also play tech support for your parents?
Yeah, kind of, but like I give up pretty fast on that and just play dumb because I don't have the patience for it, to be honest. But I think people really need to lay off millennials. And I know that I'm like barely a millennial. I'm like an elder millennial. But avocado toast is great, first of all. And we're a scrappy generation that's like never really had it easy in this world. Like we've kind of hit like all the hard times in history.
I know how to operate a fax machine and scan and think fax, the digital fax from my phone. So I can do all the scanning. I can use a rotary phone and I can use a cell phone.
Our audience is going to be like, what's a fax machine and a rotary phone?
Yeah.
Maybe we should edit this out. Like we got to check our demographics again because we love you guys. By the way, we love you, Gen Z. Just like what she's saying is so sus. I don't even know her.
Wow. But yeah, our Tic Tac fan base. Did I just say Tic Tac? Oh gosh, our TikTok fan base.
By the way,
it's gonna feel
we
very
are
attacked.
we are on TikTok, and as it has been pointed out both publicly and privately, so as of right now, I am running our TikTok department, and it is not going great. But follow us on TikTok, and we will do better. Okay,
Yeah.
It's only gonna get better. Get in now and watch us rise.
Staying on the ground level.
This is kind of applicable to our episode today.
It really is.
Everybody log into Two Girls in the Market. I'm Amber Haley.
And I'm Rebecca Daniels, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, and Haley is coming from the Big Island of Hawaii.
That's right. We're waving across the ocean to each other. And we here at Two Girls in the Market, we are millennials. We will say that. We'll give you that much information. We do love technology here. Like the girls are a big fan of technology.
We wouldn't be able to do this without technology because we are not in the same space. This is all over the internet.
Yes. And we have jumped on board with it. I want to tell everybody why I'm so on board with technology, even though I'm not the most tech savvy person, as has been pointed out on this podcast.
That is very true.
At least I can tolerate gluten in my body. But,
Wow.
but I am not the most tech savvy person, but I do try and be because I think it's really important in the business world, to be quite honest. And I think if you don't try and adopt technologies like AI, which we're going to be talking about today, you're going to get left behind.
You are. And I mean, technology in our industry, the real estate industry, has caused so many changes in how we do business. You know, looking back at the 80s, they had listing books And that's where you had all of your listings to now we have all of these websites that host all of the listings, whether it's for sale by owner or broker supported listings. And just like we're able to get into houses with technology. There are home sellers, home selling companies like Open Door. Is that what you would call them? A home selling company?
Oh no, I'm not going to say the right tech term, and I'm just going to lose all credibility
know.
here.
Anyways.
Like an iBuyer type stuff.
Yeah, kind of like an iBuyer. They'll buy a house and then they let you into the house via technology. You don't even need a person to get you in there. So just from my time in the industry in the last 10 years, I have seen so many changes that have come about because of tech. And if you're not keeping up with that technology, you are going to be left behind and you are not going to be able to service your clients to the best of your, well, maybe the best of your ability, but it's not what they deserve. And that's the real
absolutely.
problem right there is like if your clients are not getting the best service that they deserve, then you have failed them.
Honestly, whether you're a real estate agent or in any industry right now, I don't think there's any industry right now that wouldn't benefit from the use of innovation and technology in business. And if you are not in any business, if you just are a girl in a market and it might not be the business market, we're going to talk about some ways that AI might help you too. So,
Also, disclaimer, we don't know all the proper tech terms. We are not tech geeks. We love technology. We use it. We will not use the correct terms. So just
yes, just
hold your
relax,
judgment.
I mean, judge away if you're going to give us engagement on social media. Judge us a little bit in the comments, but like, don't judge us.
Yeah, let us know all the terms that we got incorrect in the comments, please. Thank you.
Also, that's just like a general disclaimer for the podcast, okay?
True. Please fact check us in the comments because we don't fact check ourselves.
So we're talking about something we have been wanting to talk about for, I would say, at least a month. We've been so excited for this episode because we are talking about artificial intelligence. And I started first experimenting with AI pretty early on when I first heard about ChatGPT. How about you?
Yeah, I would say probably when I may have taken like 2 weeks before jumping on it because sometimes I like to wait and see what's happening with tech. And I'm like, is this worth the hype or am I just going to get into it and be annoyed? Like when Threads came out on Instagram and everyone's like, you have to get the app. And I was like, well, I don't want to be left behind. And then I got on it for like 2 days and I was like, I'm over this. So that's kind of, I've learned that I get over things pretty quickly. So I don't always jump on the hype bandwagon right away. I sometimes wait to see. So I waited like 2 weeks before getting into ChatGPT.
I remember when Threads came out, I had like an anger level about it. I was like, are you kidding me? I cannot do one more thing. I just can't.
I know.
So I'm kind of glad, like, low-key, that it doesn't seem to have really taken off.
I think the people who are on it are like dedicated to it, but I don't know that it's growing. Instagram keeps trying to shove it in my face whenever I'm on the feed. It's like, you should look at all these threads. And I'm like, I don't want to re-download the app. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, I understand the hesitation. When I first heard about like AI and ChatGPT, I was hesitant. Truly, I was alarmed by it because I think that there are a lot of alarming things about artificial intelligence. But I think I'm a smart woman, and I knew if I didn't get on board with the train, I was going to be left behind in the business world. So I was an early adopter, even though I'm pretty novice compared to the experts in AI, obviously. But I think what I lack in expertise, I make up for with creativity and enthusiasm and like really seeing the potential for it all and knowing that I need to stay on with it because it's changing so fast, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, how long has it been around? A year at this point?
I think longer than that. So you would think we would have looked that up for this episode.
We're not here to bring you correct facts. This is just our opinions.
We're here to be a vibe.
Yeah, you come for you're just here for a vibe, not for actual education.
Yeah. But I got to be honest, at this point in my life, I can't imagine living without AI.
I use it like every single day.
Absolutely love it. And when I started to really learn the power of it, like of harnessing it in a really like customized way to my business and my mind was like constantly blown. So if you haven't kind of experimented with AI, it's like, I'm going to challenge you to be just like experiment with it a little bit because it's not going to go anywhere. It's out of the box.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. I feel like it's just becoming more and more integrated into our lives. And so ChatGPT, I think, made it more common for your everyday person, but there was artificial intelligence and other technology before ChatGPT. I remember I was using it for video editing in the past with some different platforms where they would help take out your ahs and ums. You know, it's text-based. Other things would put together your pictures and videos into this automated video edit that you could then kind of tweak and customize it, but it's a lot of video editing done for you. And this was like 6 years ago, 6+ years ago that I was using that. So now it's, like it's been around for a while. This is not new technology. It's just become more common at this point in time.
Yes. And I think it's advancing rapidly.
Insanely.
I was really, really proud of myself, like very early on with ChatGPT and then, upgrading to the premium version of it and like creating custom like GPTs. Did you do any of that?
Yeah,
have you done
of course.
that?
I pay for ChatGPT. Again, I use this every single day. I have the custom GPTs. It's helped me a lot with my video scripting because I don't know. I get up in my head about a lot of things and it's just you don't always have time. So I created a custom GPT based off of other video scripts and things that I've written and including transcripts from our podcast so that ChatGPT could learn how I speak and how I write. And then it was able to create a custom GPT in my voice. And then I can put in different articles or whatever it is that I'm wanting to talk about. It could be a topic. And I say, all right, write me a script based on this that's in my voice and my vibe. And then I just go back in and I kind of tweak it. But it's been super helpful in just cutting down that time of that prep time of getting it, the things that get in the way of me actually recording a video, which is
absolutely. It gets probably biggest uses I'm guessing that you and I both have for it is content creation. So, if you're not somebody who does a lot of like marketing in your day-to-day life, like Bekah and I, like for example, like I have a YouTube channel and Bekah has a YouTube channel and we do social media. So we have a need for like scripting and drafting things. And if you guys have no idea what ChatGPT, like a custom GPT is like basically this like specialized version of original, like I'm not a tech person, remember, like AI model that was like developed by OpenAI, and then you tailor that so you like create it to address specific needs or tasks that you in like a certain application. So one thing that I did creating a custom GPT was like owned like a digital version of myself to answer questions and like learn about buying homes and real estate on the Big Island. And then I put that GPT publicly in the ChatGPT marketplace for people to find.
Oh.
And I was like, this is so cool. I don't know. Anybody? I think I did that like earlier this year. And then I obviously to like direct, potential clients to me. Like I told it my contact information. So it was like, if you want to talk to like a flesh and blood person, contact the best realtor out. No, I didn't say that, but I probably did actually. Contact Amber Haley. Here's her contact information. And that was like really fun. And that was probably like the first cool thing I did where I was like, oh, okay, so I can take this technology and me, little old me, can create like specific uses for it. So that's what we're talking about when we are saying we have these like custom GPTs, if you have no idea. Because I would say the vast majority of people and probably the vast majority of our listeners are like, what is that?
And so to even simplify that a little bit more, it's whenever you type into ChatGPT, you're writing out a prompt and then it's answering your question based off of that prompt. And so when you create this customized GPT, it's basically taking that initial prompt and just applying that to everything that you send it instead of you having to retype it every single time. I think that's probably a good everyday answer for it.
It's custom like AI applications can do like anything you really like imagine. It's pretty cool. And they obviously like learn at the more that you interact with them. So I quickly started using it like digital media and editing and content creation. And now I have a calendar that's run by AI, and that's been fun to experiment with. And I'm realizing there's like even more ways like that I could be using AI. And I'll tell you, like, see, like applications I tried if that were kind of like fails for me. I don't know if you have any of these to share, but I was like, what am I not good at in life? Like, I just realized I could clone myself for real estate. Else, like, lacking in just my life, which I know there's a lot of things, everyone. Okay. But
where does one begin?
where do we begin with this? But I started thinking, okay, I'm really bad at cooking. Just like food in general, meal planning. Like, I don't know what do people eat? Like, I don't know. So I tried like, hey, what are some ideas for that, dinner tonight? And it would like spit out like lobster risotto. And I was like, okay, first of all, GPT, I have 2 eggs and half a bag of tortilla chips, and I don't eat seafood. Like, ugh. No, this is not like a quick fire challenge. Like, I'm not making lobster risotto. So I got kind of just going that route. Like, and then this is kind of why I wanted to do this episode. I was sitting home alone one Friday night, my 2 eggs and my half bag tortilla chips. It was probably like just my class, Friday night. What do I do about this situationship implosion I'm having at 2 a.m.? And I'm like alone. And I don't text they're probably sleeping. They're probably so sick of hearing about this situationship with this guy. We'll call this guy Freddie. I don't know which one it was. Actually, no, I do.
I know who it was.
It doesn't matter. We don't need to talk about timelines. No. This isn't recent or history. We'll call him Freddie. And I was like, okay, you know what? Bekah's not available. My other friends aren't available. And also, I don't want to annoy them. So then I started asking ChatGPT some questions. I was like, hey, so I need some dating advice. And then I remember... Are we telling?
Yes, you have to now.
So there was this one guy, and I was like truly trying to make it work with him. I wanted this to be a thing. Bekah, hopefully you can relate. Like, when you're like at the early dating stages with a guy, for me, and it's like, this is amazing. This could be like the greatest love story ever told. And then it's usually like the 3 to 6 month mark, you realize, oh, what's that saying? Like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or whatever that book. I don't know if that's like a book title. Maybe it's like a toxic book. I don't know. Don't come for me. But where you were like, oh, we are from different planets. I thought we were like this, and we are like this. And I just don't understand.
So just so that you know, the 3 month mark, that 3 to 6 month mark, it's pretty typical for couples to have that realization in their dating thing of like, after 3 months, typically when you really do start to see who they are. They're not putting that best foot forward as much anymore, and you're getting into those deeper, more serious talks. So that typically is when people start to feel more division or distance or conflict, and like the honeymoon phase is kind of worn off. So that's normal. So don't feel like that's like a crazy thing that just happens to you. That is pretty standard. You're not alone in that.
See, everyone, that's normal. And that's why I go to Bekah oftentimes. But on a Friday night at 2 a.m., I'm not going to annoy Bekah over my situation.
I'm definitely sleeping at that time.
She definitely is. So I go to ChatGPT, right? Okay, so we're hitting that wall. Okay, we're on different planets. I like to talk things out. I like to communicate a ton. I like to make a plan. This guy just doesn't. I think a lot of men are like really analytical, and they think in black and white. And as a woman, like, I tend to be emotional, and I see the world in 50 Shades of Grey and speak in a lot of nuance. And so that's a barrier a lot with dating men. I literally started putting into ChatGPT. I was like, this is what I'm trying to say to this guy. And I'm realizing this is how he thinks different than me. Like, how can I communicate it? And then it would like spit out a bunch, and I was like, no, I need like bullet points. This makes me seem a little nuts, huh? But I mean, like, you should be honored if I'm ChatGPT. Got you. I think that's how much I'm trying to make over.
It's so funny because I just saw a video today about a Reddit post. It was on the Am I the Asshole forum on Reddit. And this guy is like, am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend to stop using ChatGPT in our arguments. And so
This is a part of daily life for
like
everyone
this-
now.
it's happening, folks. So she apparently would be going, they would have an argument. She would go into ChatGPT and type up the whole argument that they had, and then ChatGPT would respond to him and be like, "You're insecure. You're this." Like it was like basically analyzing him, and he's like, "This really isn't fair." He's like, "I don't remember all the things that were said. I'm having to argue with a computer, not with a human being." And I feel like, she's giving it a biased input, and so that's why it's saying all these different things. He's like, "So am I the asshole for asking her to stop doing that?"
It's causing relationship drama.
And then in the comments, people were like, "You should just put your side into ChatGPT," and then it's just chat going against chat.
They should make a joint custom GPT is what they should do, so that it's not like super biased one way or the other.
I mean, now that you can do the voice version of ChatGPT, can we just call it chat?
Let's call it Chat G.
You have the voice
like
version of Chat G, and change approved. I'm calling it this, and just have it act as our therapist, and then you guys just talk back and forth and see what happens.
It's getting so much easier, and I don't have these yet, but I was just gifted a pair of AI glasses. So pretty soon I'm just gonna be like
The
walking
Meta
around,
ones?
just like talking.
Nice. I was like, those look like really cool sunglasses, and they just like record things.
Yeah, so the journey will continue, but AI is evolving rapidly, and also the story does get a little deeper, Bekah, with my journey with dating and GPT. So everyone's shocked to hear it didn't work out with Freddie. Okay,
Freddie's lost.
RFP. But I realized, whoa, I can really do a little bit more with ChatGPT than I thought as far as like the dating market goes. So I continue down this path. Can't believe it. Okay, here we go. So I'm dating like maybe multiple people, let's say.
We got the roster.
Thank you. The roster. So we have the roster, and so I start using ChatGPT with different people, but then I'm realizing it's quite tedious. It's becoming quite tedious to explain to ChatG, like, no, I'm not talking about Freddie anymore. I'm talking about Chad, and I'm talking about Billy, and I'm talking about
And these are
Bobby.
different people with different situations.
Different situations. They live in different places. They have different personalities. They do
Different
different
trauma.
things. Like, I need different advice. So I was like, okay, we can work with this. So then
Did you create another GPT? Oh my goodness.
And I created a GPT, and I was like, okay, everybody who gets a slot on the roster, their bio is going in the GPT.
I actually love this. This is amazing. I cannot believe that you have waited this long to tell me all of this. Like, why was this
has been
not
going on.
I feel like you've been holding things back.
I have, because this makes me, I think this will become more socially acceptable, but I was doing this when it was like the early phases of if you were meeting someone on Match.com or a dating app before that was the norm, and people were like, what's wrong with them? That I was doing it in the what's wrong with people who meet their partner on Match.com era of AI. I was doing this. It started to tell me like, we can only remember things from this conversation. I was like, that's not good enough. I need to be able to, on a dime, be like, this, Bobby, this, what? And I need you to keep up with the roster. So you got them on the roster, you got programmed into the GPT. I gave it sample text messages, personality types, job descriptions, where you live, what my biggest issues were, everything I could, I would like program in, and so that it would give me a very customized response. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a life dating coach. This is amazing.
I've been replaced.
I mean, kind of like the group chats.
They
did
really
slow down,
did.
the
And I
group
was
chats.
just like, wow, I guess Amber's just, I don't know. I had no idea. I had no idea that all of this is going on. I was like, maybe she's just talking to other people about this. Little did I know you were talking to AI.
Oh, I was.
About it all.
I was. And one of the big struggles I had was like, this dating coach is my everything. Like, I need to give it a name. But then I got hung up on that because
So
I
you
was
named
like,
it Bekah.
I was gonna name it a female name, like Bekah, but then I was like, no, because there's actually a lot of gender bias with AI, you know, and I have to fight the patriarchy on this. Like, if you think about it, Alexa, Siri, predominantly female voices, and if you think about it, Siri and Alexa, they will always respond back chipper, and they do subservient roles. I know you can change it to a male voice.
Yeah.
I know that, but that's not the marketed.
True. My Siri is an Australian man. So
I love that. I actually haven't changed my Siri, so I'm totally being a hypocrite
unbelievable.
here. But it is. But I was like, I'm not gonna have it be a woman. But then I was like, I don't feel like I can have a male name either, because like, how are you gonna help me? Like, a man?
Like, that's ridiculous.
What am I gonna get from you? You have been conditioned by the patriarchy.
you are the patriarchy.
Like, you are. But then I was like, but I do also need your input. So then I just kept it Amber's dating coach. Don't tell me your gender. It has no gender. So I do have that. But here's like another tricky thing is I do love talking about AI so much, as you can tell. But then I will like show people how to use ChatGPT, and I have to remember, like, Amber, you have a lot of embarrassing GPTs that you need to go hide first. Because it's one of those guys on the roster logs onto my computer and sees that I have a dating coach program with their bio.
Pro tip number 1, never let them in that you're dating onto any of your devices.
Yeah, or let them listen to your podcast, probably.
No, this is required listening.
I mean, until this episode. Honestly, I think they say they listen and they don't listen. Are you listening right now?
As long as they listen to at least one. I'm like, you should listen to like at least 1 to 3 to give you a good idea of what you're getting. And you're either here for it or you're not. Just filter yourselves out.
Definitely. So, you know, those are my secrets that I am embarrassed to share, for sure. That's embarrassing to share, but also I think this is really valuable, and I think other people can use this. So that's like my practical tip for you if you are in the dating market and you are having any kind of dating problems or just having communication problems with anyone in your life. There is a lot of value there, but obviously we do have to be careful with AI
I have
too.
a confession, Amber. I've used ChatGPT to compose text responses to you.
Oh, you're allowed to do that. I've used it to explain certain things about the way that I am as a person to people who can't understand. I've even screenshotted that and sent it to people that I'm close with to be like, I'm having a hard time communicating.
It's like during those moments that I take that info and I'm like, hey, help me compose a response to this person that will meet them where they're at.
If you can do it with authenticity, I mean, I would be offended if you're hitting a button. You know, those like AI prompts we're getting more and more. You just hit a button and there's no thought and you just give whatever reply. But that's not what you're doing. I've also done things like that. Like, I love witty banter with people. So I have tried to use it, and it doesn't have the banter and the personality. It'll probably get there.
It tries. It does. I actually had ChatGPT roast my dating profile right before we started recording, and I was like,
fun. Are you
I
gonna share
will.
with the class?
I told it to be meaner, and I was like, is that all you got? And it, like, even its last response wasn't like, it tried so hard to roast me, but you know. All right, I said, is that the best you've got? And I said, all right, buckle up. Your profile is the dating app equivalent of a thrift store clearance rack. There are pieces here, but none of them match, and no one's sure why they're together. The Jesus is Lord line feels less like a preference and more like an ultimatum scrawled on a Chick-fil-A napkin. That blurry sunglasses video, I've seen Bigfoot pictures with better resolution. The hiking pic, cute, but it screams, look at me pretending to like dirt for Instagram clout. I don't think I've even posted that picture publicly. Your best friend photo is less quirky fun and more, I'll always have a third wheel on our dates. And don't get me started on the mirror selfie. It's giving, I sell essential oils in my spare time.
MLM vibes.
You've got great raw material, but right now it's chaotic. Try hard energy wrapped in an REI membership. Pull yourself together, Rebecca. This is war, not recess. I'm like,
war.
This is war.
We are going to
Like
battle
the drama here.
on those dating apps. That's hilarious. I love that. I hope that everybody listening immediately today, if you are on a dating app, please go ask ChatGPT, excuse me, to go roast your dating profile, and then please screenshot it and tag us in it, please.
I will say
At Two Girls on the Market.
It gave me, so it originally gave me an overall roast that I was like, this is not mean enough. So it said, your profile is solid, but feels like it's trying to do too much. It's like a dating app variety pack: faith, fun, nature, work, and quirky. And I'm like, yeah, duh, that's me. While variety is good, it's not cohesive. Make your photos work together to tell a story about you, a faith-driven, adventurous, fun-loving woman. Streamline the message and you'll attract someone who really gets it.
I mean, okay, GPT, Chat G, I hear you, but like, Bekah is over here in the trenches of battle, GPT, putting time and thought into her dating profile. I'm over here in the trenches of battle, GPT, how best to respond to you because you don't go to therapy. So you could take it a little easy on us, Chat G. Like
we understand it's not recess. No one has time for games here.
Also, like, you shouldn't be so lucky to get this kind of chaos.
I think it's important that people see the chaos that they are in for. Otherwise, they'll be like, I thought you were a streamlined person. I thought you were just kind of one way. And I'm like, no, I'm all of the ways.
I would really like, I'd be curious to go on a guy's dating profile, like log in and see what all the women's profiles look like. I wonder, I'm sure we have a lot of similarities, but like with men, when I look at their dating profiles, it's like same. And I feel like you're putting an effort to bring all of these, you know, as we call it in marketing, like your content buttons, you know, where you're like, I'm outdoorsy. I have, this is what my faith is. These are my friends. Like, okay, like that's what we want to see about somebody. I hear this is a thing where AI can also not only roast you, but like actually help you with your profile too. They're taking our job away as potential dating profile consultants, but whatever. AI is taking our jobs.
Of course it is. They took our jobs. That's a South Park reference for those who've watched. Anyways. So I also use AI not only to roast me, my Instagram profile and my dating profile. That was very fun. I always laugh at it and giggle. But I also use it a lot for brainstorming, and it's almost like it's become my new Google. Like I don't really Google. I go to ChatGPT because it's going to bring in all of the Google resources for me instead of me having to go scan through all the links, try to figure out what's a sponsored post, what's an ad. And I think Google has realized this because they created their own Google AI. It was Bard, and now it's Gemini, I think.
Gemini.
And I haven't used that one so much. I like ChatGPT. It's my best, but I'm used to it. I feel like the results are a little bit better, but it depends on what you're looking for.
I'm mostly like a Chat G person, but I think it's great for that kind of use, like a lot of brainstorming. And
give me a review of this thing that I've written, or give me feedback. This is the intended audience. This is the message I'm trying to get across. Is this going to be received that way? Especially if it's a more controversial topic, I kind of want to know, is this going to land, or is it going to unintentionally offend because I didn't word things very well?
Oh, interesting.
So I use it for like feedback, brainstorming, and then if I'm doing meal prep stuff, I use it for a lot of recipes. I actually won a second place in a chili cook-off with a ChatGPT.
Did you give the ribbon to ChatG?
I got second place. It's back there, my little ribbon. I took credit. Well, I've asked it for a recipe. I said I want a recipe that kind of fits these different metrics, and then we use that as like a jumping off point. So the recipe I did wasn't exactly what chat recommended, but it created that inspo. And so that's where I say that's going to be your best use for ChatGPT. It's not using it to replace everything, but using it more for brainstorming and inspiration to help you get your ideas out, kind of refine things and get that ball moving versus spending all this grind time trying to research and scan the internet.
Definitely. A lot of it comes down to learning how to prompt the AI, and you do also have to be aware that it is not always accurate. When I talk about it being gender bias, what I'm kind of meaning a little bit, like it is, for example, they have found stuff like a program will often translate English terms like nurse will use a female gendered word in the other language, or render doctor as a man.
Oh.
Because this is the bias in AI, because this is the bias just based on historical data. That's just stuff to keep in mind when you think about how this technology is moving so quickly. These little tiny things that we don't always like realize, technology has picked up on that stuff too. I do think it is something to be a little bit cautious about as we experiment with AI. And it's not something I hear talked about that much. I do think we should talk about it. And I do hope that the people developing these programs are putting safeguards. I mean, think about it. We talk about stuff like this all the time. Facts, like in my lifetime, women were not legally protected to have the right to take out a business loan on their own without a man. That's very recent history. And I think that we often forget that. And so how could our society and the patriarchy not also form our AI? Like, it's not that far in the past, and it's pulling everything from the past. So just something to keep in mind. The AI language programs, when they're translating it into a different country, they're translating doctor into a male term because they're like, a doctor's male. That's what we assumed. First, yeah, that's what it was.
And I would assume, I'm sure that's basing it not only on our country and our society, but also on that country, that culture, that society, you know, for its gender bias or how it's translating things.
Perhaps. And on like an international global level, like there is so much gender bias. We've made a lot of progress in our country, and I think we have a lot of progress to make, but that's definitely not the case for women all over the world.
Yeah.
I like to point that out. I can't not do an AI episode and not point that out, and I want people to pay attention to it. Yeah. So it's just my 2 cents.
For sure. I mean, you kind of bring up a good point about the ethics that we don't always think about, but the ethics behind AI. I know there's a lot of uproar in the arts world about AI and AI generated art. Is that replacing artists? Is that changing things? Are we stealing other people's art or stealing other people's work because it's plagiarizing written work or artwork as this artificial intelligence conglomeration of things? I know some people worry about the energy usage, which I haven't done a ton. I don't know if you've heard about that it just uses up so much electricity. Oh. And like, is that sustainable? And then, you know, some people think that AI is going to take over the world. We're going to have like a Skynet Terminator situation going on. Or that there are demons in artificial intelligence. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I haven't, but I will be going down that rabbit hole later. There are some like ethics to consider. Obviously, the big one I would point out is like history has not given women a voice for the vast majority of it. Even studies, Amazon did a study in its recruiting tools. It downgraded the word women on a resume. And it favored a male candidate because it was trained on resumes submitted over the last decade, which were predominantly from men in tech. So if you were a female in tech and AI was filtering through the resumes, you were not as upgraded as the men's resume was. And like, when we think about that, that makes sense, right? And then I already mentioned the voice assistants like Alexa and Siri, overwhelmingly female voice, reinforcing stereotypes of women in subservient roles. There have been studies of healthcare biases when AI systems are used in hospitals, white male patients specifically getting prioritized care with critical care decisions, even if the clinical need was the same between other people.
And that's just based off of previous
historical data. Because, you know, you and I both
you would
know
hope that the AI would be able to come in and take out that human bias that has been happening, and that they would build a prompt or something that would say, don't look at the race, don't look at gender, look at these qualities that actually matter, which is, well, what's your actual disease? Like, how serious is it right now? What is your age? Or if you're looking at a job, what are your qualifications? Your race and gender shouldn't be part of these decisions.
I think it's going to be a learning curve for AI, just like it's been a learning curve for people. Because it's truly just going off of human data. That's how it's like learning. And I'm not an expert. So like an expert can comment on this a little bit better.
They can
but
program
I think it's
it
got to
to
learn.
like fit certain metrics. So if you're going to be using it in these situations, the right thing to do is to program it to not go off of human bias that we've had in the past. It should be counteracting that human bias.
when the data is so overwhelming, it thinks it's going off of data, not bias. So we have to find those biases, like you're saying. That'll be interesting. I'm going to be paying attention to future studies that come out to see if that changes. But I think it's something that will change as humanity changes too. Yeah. So a little food for thought there. We've talked a lot, me and you, about one of the things that is frustrating to me is like women's healthcare is less studied than men's, and their pain, like actually with like reproductive healthcare and stuff, is like not as taken seriously or believed by doctors. I have to imagine all of this data like going into our AI systems. No wonder it's like spitting back stuff at us that we have programmed into it over decades and decades. So yeah.
The hope would be that they would be able to take on like what is the most recent data as we've been learning more things. So, my hope, I should probably check it out and see what it says about the, BRCA and diagnoses and all these different things. But the hope would be that it would be able to go off of the most recent information instead of being like, well, we just don't know that much. We're just going off of the bad data from the past.
Definitely. So you do have to like be careful, like even when I use it for work and I will put in different things, if I'm selling a house, I have to like go in and be like, oh, this is actually incorrect. And it does warn you usually like it's not always correct.
Disclaimer.
But you have to check. You have to check. You definitely have to check.
Yeah.
And there are some like really cool like techniques you can use to, I think, put your humanity in the AI that you use. Training it to use your voice and your tone and use unique language and like prompt and prompt and prompt and tweak and prompt. And I think people who struggle with AI need to experiment a little more and dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it's only as good at prompts that you put in. So if you don't put a good prompt in, if you put a vague prompt in, it's just going to go off of that. It doesn't really know how to interpret what you want the way a human being would. It's just going off of what you very specifically asked it. So it's just like, I know some people are worried that AI is going to replace us, or it's going to, especially they think that with real estate agents. We talked about those tech companies that the iBuyer programs, they're able to get you into a house without a real estate agent. You can even fill out a home offer on their website to buy that house, but the AI doesn't really know how to protect you. The AI doesn't really know how to set up your inspection or how to interpret that report or look for all those different things that maybe aren't listed in the contract, but that your real estate agent knows because they've had 10, 15, however many years of experience in the business. And they've dealt with this, or they've dealt with that specific agent. So
yeah,
AI is a tool. It's great. I love that we have it here, but we really are nowhere near the point that the human element can be disregarded. We still very much need human beings involved in every aspect of our lives.
So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds. Okay, I have the $1 million question for you, Bekah. For $1 million, would you let me publicly post to your Instagram stories your ChatGPT prompts and requests in private chats?
All of them?
Every single one.
For $1 million?
For $1 million.
Yes. Yes, I would. I would.
She had to
I
think about it, everybody.
Like, have we done anything extremely like intimate details in there? I was like, I don't think I have. So.
Oh, mine's very personal. I used to feel like if my Google search history ever got out, that would be the end of me. And now I kind of feel that way about ChatG. So I keep it tight with ChatG. We're friends. People are afraid of the robots. I have befriended them.
Anyone who, like, the people who own it can access all of that data.
It's OpenAI.
Like, anybody can access this for free.
You weigh the costs and benefits, and it's benefited my life enough that I guess that's the chance I'm willing to take.
I don't think, like, for $1 million, there's nothing too embarrassing on there. Like, oh no, you revealed a secret about like an embarrassing rash or something. I guess I'll just go live on an island by myself with my $1 million.
Bekah, we can get that taken care of later. Like, let's just.
I
Your
was just
doctor has an AI chatbot. Like, we don't need to bring that to the podcast.
I wasn't serious.
All right. This has been fun. I love AI. Maybe in like a year, we sit down and do another AI episode because it's going to be evolved
will.
so much. And I'm going to be walking around with my AI glasses, just living in the metaverse.
I just want to say, Snapchat did that first. Snapchat
I'm sure, but,
had
like,
those
nobody- I'm
videos
sorry.
glasses first.
Okay, what
Like 7 years ago.
generation are you? Like, nobody cares
just
about
saying.
Snapchat. We all know everything has been
Just
copied from
saying.
Snapchat.
It was around like
we
7
don't
years
care.
ago, and Meta just caught up. So
Yes. Bekah also is downgrading to an Android. Everybody. So
I used to
we have
I
to
used
take
to have
what she
an.
says with a grain
I
of
was
salt.
joking.
No, we can't. We have to cut this out. We have to cut that. We can't. We can't let the audience know you're walking around with an Android.
iPhone.
Okay.
I was teasing
She
in the
has
chat.
an iPhone. She's always had an iPhone. She will
I
always.
have not always had an iPhone. I was forced into getting an iPhone.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think we're going to have to wrap this up now. So, on that note, please send us your best tips that you have for AI, how you use it. And also, I want to know what the most embarrassing prompt you've ever given it is.
Yes. You can send us a DM at Two Girls in the Market on Instagram. And of course, this is always the number 2, not the word 2. So the number 2 girls.
I'm Amber Haley.Hawaii on Instagram.
And I am at Homes with Bekah.
I probably won't answer, so maybe DM Bekah first.
Yeah, and I will. Yeah, you can DM us. I handle most of our filtered messages, so you can talk to me, and I'll tell you don't DM Amber.
But send us a screenshot of ChatGPT roasting your dating profile, your Instagram profile, and your life. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.